Hello, my name is Whitney Hall. I'm going to do my presentation for this senior project. There's two questions that popped into my mind that created the basis for this project and the purpose of the project. The first one was, have you ever made a mistake that cost your company thousands of dollars? And the follow-up question to that is, have you ever made a mistake that affected the finances of 23 people? So those two questions are what generated the purpose of this research project. So that purpose is to identify opportunities for error in payroll creation at New Beginnings Church. I will be trying to find errors created by both the employee filling out their time card and by the person submitting payroll to our payroll processor. So the research is going to take place at New Beginnings Church in Bixby, Oklahoma, and it's going to take place among the 25 or so part-time employees that operate on an hourly pay basis. So the Department of Labor categorizes those people as non-exempt employees. So if you're working on an hourly basis and you're not salaried, then you are not exempt from having overpayments deducted from your paychecks. So the problem I'm going to be researching is the amount of and opportunities for error in filling out timesheets, collecting those timesheets, and submitting them to our payroll service. I will be comparing the cost of those payroll errors in the old timesheet system, which was a paper system, versus a new digital system that has currently been implemented. This study is going to be really important to the organization because it can prevent another costly error of the same kind in the future. It's also going to help create a new system that has a little bit more accountability in place for both the employee to make sure that their time card gets submitted on time and correctly, and it also creates in theory, a more errorless mode of timesheet creation for the person submitting our payroll to the payroll processor. And it's also important because it's within the context of a church. Churches are called to a higher standard, in my opinion, to deal with their finances. They have to be good stewards of their finances and make sure that all of the boxes are ticked as far as having payroll, balancing payroll and missions and in-house management. It's a unique balance that's a little bit different than corporations. So this actual research project is based off of an error that was created among a group of Early Learning Center employees that were paid for 3 additional days of work that they should not have been paid for. Overall, the mistake cost the church about $2,900, and it was equivalent to about $150 per person that was affected within the Early Learning Center. So basically, each of those employees got about $150 extra dollars. So the Church Stewardship Council, in this case, decided to not take the money back from the employees and go ahead and just treat it as if it were a bonus to those employees and let it be a blessing. That's a good indicator that the church was in a really good financial position to be able to bless those people with a little bit of extra money in their pockets going into the summer. But because these people are non-salaried and they are what is considered non-exempt employees, we could have taken the money back from them because it is an overpayment. So the Department of Labor considers non-salaried individuals to be eligible to have deductions taken out of their paychecks if an overpayment is made. A salaried person cannot have that done. The overpayment would have to come from a future bonus or some other non-typical form of payment. But because these women were part-time employees, they are able to have that money taken back. But in this case, it did not get taken from them because the church decided to bless them instead. So, in conclusion, payroll mistakes can be a tremendous burden to both an organization and an employee. They're embarrassing, they're frustrating, and they're avoidable. This project is seeking to identify the vulnerabilities within a church payroll system and the timekeeping system to ensure that the church can maintain really good record keeping and accountability both with the employee and with the payroll processor, and just really be excellent stewards of the resources that God has placed in their care. So, currently, the church has shifted to an electronic time card system, and so it's I think this is going to enable them to not make future errors. There were 4 different forms of timesheets being utilized, and there was one person responsible for collecting all of those timesheets from different locations, whether it was preschool ministry, early learning center, part-time children's director, and even the payroll processor herself was putting in her own timesheet. So now having a new unified, uniform looking mode of delivery for these timesheets should be very helpful in making sure that everyone's timesheets are correct and sent in on time and for the correct amount of days, and it should result in fewer errors. So this is just one of the references that I used. It was an article talking about overpaying employees, and it was the aspects of the non-exempt and the exempt employees and who is eligible to have those funds taken back from their paycheck. So I hope you are a little bit intrigued about the senior project. I think it'll be really interesting to see the end result and to see how the church was able to save itself a little bit of money and some frustration by not having some of these payroll errors happen in the future. Thank you.